Hi guys, so today I decided to make a tutorial about the difference between the object literal notation and the function literal notation in JavaScript, which is the most common interview questions when you are applying for the post of front-end developer. Having said that, let's get started with what is the difference between these two terms. Just a note here is that these are just the fancy names, but behind the scene, it is the concept that you know already. So it's just the fancy name given to it. So since I have two separate files to make your concept more clear, so let's talk first with object literal notation. Object literal notation is just like a JSON object that you described in JavaScript. So you can syntactically define object literal notation as you will see on the screen right now. So just create one variable in JavaScript. When you define a variable, it should be started with the var keyword. The name of the variable, I will say object, which is equal to this curly brace, and at last put semicolon. After that, it is actually a object notation. So in object we can define properties, so I will define properties with name, first name, and last name. After defining this object, then I have to write something on the page. So for that I will use document dot write. So I will write before. Now to access the property we use dot notation. So document dot write object dot name of the key which you have defined with the object. So object dot first name. Similarly I will do it for the last name. Now I will define one more object which I will state object 1, and which will be equal to object, and I will say object dot first name equal to, right? So I will write, let me define this object 1 at top after defining object, and then I will use a similar syntax, but instead of using object I will define object 1. Now I will copy this statement. Now note here that I am changing the property of object with the name, first name, and after changing it, what we will see is this, which I will run the script right now. So I will run the script, that is object literal. I will open this with my favorite browser, that is Chrome. Ah, you cannot see it properly, right? Ah, that's a mess. So I will use break tag. Maybe, yeah. So after using break, only thing is that you will get the formatting proper, right? So I will say that this break will actually make the text below one line. So as you can see, before you were having first name as Tanuj Gupta, it copied. So you are having Tanuj Gupta same. But see here, I'm sorry, after you change the object value to 10 mein, not only object value gets changed, but since it is referencing to object 1, the value is also getting changed. So after object value is also getting changed and object 1 value is also getting changed. So I know that in C++ you have studied about pass by value, pass by reference. So this is actually the example of pass by reference. So object literal always behaves as pass by reference. So if there is any change to the original object, so whatever it is referencing below the code, it will change its value. And in function literal, this is all about the object literal. Now for function literal, it's a little bit of different concept, but this overcomes the problem like you would be having separate instances of an object in which if one of the property is changed, the other property will not get affected, so it would having its own local copy. So to define functional literal, I will say variable obj is equal to function. Now I will say this dot first name, or let us define like this: pass first name last name as in parameter. So this would be first name and this dot last name equal to last name. Make sure that in JavaScript, whenever you are defining function, it means that you are defining class. In explicit programming, when you define a class, you have to externally type class as a keyword, then give the class name. But here in JavaScript, if you have to define the class, you have to use function. So what I am doing, it's just like a constructor function where you are passing two parameters, first name and last name, and in this object you are having two properties with the name first name and last name, and you are defining the value of what parameters have been passed. Now I will say obj1 is equal to define an instance of a class, you use new keyword and you can use obj, and here you can pass Tanuj Gupta, right? So now in obj2 you can define another object obj, then मैं Gupta. Since you define to object independently. Now I will copy and paste the same syntax. This document or write definitely means like to show it on the screen, like here you are seeing the text before, right? So just to see the text on the screen on the browser. So I will copy paste the same thing. So I will type obj1 because our first object is obj1, not object, and the second object is, sorry, it should be obj2. I will copy this and I will paste it here. Now after defining this, I have to change obj1 dot first name to be equal to, let's give some another name. That's very strange. Tanu. It's very weird name, but yeah, that would do. So if I save this in object literal sense, you could see that when we were changing the name, the object and object 1 was getting changed, but here you will see that only the object 1 value will be getting changed. The object 2 will be intact of whatever values have been assigned here. So if I run this page now of function literal, some error came. Let us see what is the error. It's nice thing, right? When you are doing videos, if error comes, then you have to debug it. It says document. That's very strange. There is no keyword known as document. It should be document. So here we go, we have document. So when I save this file and when I run this code in Google Chrome, there we go. Before, it's Tanuj Gupta and Tanmay Gupta, and after it is Tanu Gupta, and see here the object 2 values were intact, it was not changed. But here in object literal you could see that if any one object is changed, then these two values are getting changed. So there we go. This is the main difference about what is object literal and functional literal. Guys, this is the most common interview question that is asked. So be careful about this when you are answering this, and this is actually what the interviewer is looking for. I know that these two concepts you have already studied, but in JavaScript it's just only the fancy term which horrifies the developer, but still behind the scene it is the same concept that you were learning when you were there in 10th standard. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you everyone for watching this. Please let me know if you face any difficulty while understanding any concept. And these days I am getting many subscribers to Tech Help. Thank you for everyone for participating in that. Thank you so much for all your love and support. Bye. Have a nice day.